All right. Thank you so much for clicking play and checking out this conversation with Raavi. My name is John. I'm the owner and operator of What Was That Radio. It's in its 19th month of existence at this point. I should have said 19th, put a TH at the end of it to make a complete word in a sentence that does make sense for you to hear through. Anyway, it's a really cool station. And the guy that runs it is super eloquent, really passionate, and loves diving deep into the detail of those that have inspired him through their creative. Now, I mean, I certainly recovered that. Let me have a sip of tea here. Will I use this for the intro or will I try and record this again? I don't like doing those chippy choppy YouTube takes where humans all of a sudden don't breathe anymore and their sentences roll out super fast. Anyway, I won't edit it. We'll leave it in. A conversation with Raavi went down in February of 2021. I'm releasing it in February of 2022. Yes, because I've been building whatwasthatradio.com for the last year and a half now, and it's time for everything to show face. I would love for you to consider going to whatwasthatradio.com to discover true modern alternative rock. Dive into the playlists. It's a radio station, arts academy, and a community of wuzzers. Further, I'd really appreciate a cheeky like, share, or subscription to this YouTube account, as it will help tenfold with the battle of the algorithms. Oh, come here, you little cheeky algo. Here's a conversation with Raavi.
My frame in the video is similar to, what it is on here.
Word.
Which is solid.
Okay, right. Well,
hello.
Good afternoon. And how is Boston today, Raavi and the houseplants?
It's all right. It's been really cloudy. It's
a lot better than
the rest of the country.
Yeah, and a lot better than yesterday too. That's when we got iced up. I had to I walked down the sidewalk, grab it on a chain link fences like this to get home from.
Yeah.
That is one of the most grounding. I didn't mean to start with one of the most boring questions in the world, which is how's the weather? But that's one of the most grounding because we very rarely get snow here on Vancouver Island, in Victoria to be exact. And we've had our 2 days over the weekend. And walking last night had it's such a grounding experience when you feel like you're going to bail. It doesn't feel like you're going to bail. It feels like your entire life is going to be sucked into the vortex of the entirety of the center of the earth, and you're never going to return. For me, anyway. That split second. Yeah.
Yeah, because the sidewalk's slanted. I kept falling into the road. I was like, I'm gonna die. over a case of beer.
Oh my gosh. What kind of beer was it?
I tried some Long Trail from Vermont, some lager, some ale, some IPA. Got the variety pack,
And you were saying whilst I was farting about that getting this whole three of us in one screen set up, that you work in a liquor store, or what was that? When people come into the store?
Oh no, I work in a guitar shop.
Oh, sorry.
I shop at the liquor store, but I sell guitars.
Just trying to get my mind recalibrated because we had so much going on in the 5 minutes before this started, where I was trying to get Streamlabs to work properly. You were checking out the PSG Barcelona store.
It's funny. Both of my siblings work at liquor stores. Fun fact. So maybe it's in my blood.
Oh, there we go.
Whoa.
Okay. So before we move on and learn about the band, let's learn about the affection of football for one of the three of us. No, I'm into it too. But what is the PSG score right now?
Oh, PSG thrashed Barcelona 4-1, and the only goal for Barcelona was Leo Messi, which you kind of expect. I haven't watched the highlights yet. I'm pretty stoked. To see what happened there.
Raavi,
I have heard of Messi though.
Yeah, I feel like it's just like the top people in any career we know because they're rammed down our throats in every advertising campaign possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. He's got the sponsorships for sure.
Just a quick question, and before we actually focus in on what Raavi would enjoy we talk about, which is other than sport, is do you think Messi is going to move to PSG? Really? Can you see that happening?
If he would, that would be spicy. I don't know if I could see it happening, but I kind of hope it does, just for the chaos of it. That's what I crave.
I just don't know if I don't know. I think the French league is already very unbalanced as it is. And you have two or three teams. I mean, PSG can't be touched financially for a start, and the balance would just. This is why people are talking about. This is so boring to Raavi. Sorry. This is why people are talking about
it's totally fine.
These ridiculous super leagues and bringing together the top two teams of each European league at the detriment of just destroying culture and history of all of those lower divisions, trying to get it just takes all the magic away from me. So
that's true. That's true. It's becoming a bit of a, what's the word? Hegemony. I don't know how you say that.
Hegemony. Wait, fuck.
Hegemony. Yes.
I don't know. I think it's hegemony, right?
Yeah, but it was one of those situations where I pulled up the the Champions League schedule, and then I was like, what? That's the round of 16? Like I feel like we already know what the final is going to be, Yeah. It's getting a bit too repetitive with like.
Well, and it's odd. And I've just realized, James, I've not said your name for these first 4 minutes of the conversation, but it's odd because I was speaking about this with Brian from Jane in the Jungle, a band out of Arizona, last week. For me, I love sport. I love it. Can't play it, but love it. I know way too many facts about it. Went through school and my parents would say, if only you could remember as much historical or English literature as you do sports or music, that would be really great for your grades. But I'm lost. Everything is so condensed. One season ended, the next season started. There's the lack of having any fans there. I just find the whole thing really surreal. And I sort of put myself in the headspace of being the athlete, rather the artist to us as the viewer, and being like, I don't know if I want to do this, let alone if I want to then watch them when I'm not even the person training to do it. I don't feel any attachment to it. I'm not drawn to it.
It's pretty bizarre. It's like watching Bruce Springsteen play to like an empty stadium live streaming. That is just a weird feeling. All you can hear is the coaches just like screaming. And like crickets. I mean, at least in the NBA, they had like fake crowd noise playing over the speakers to make people feel normal.
They do that in the Premier League in England, and it's like, because there's a delay depending on who the person is pressing they nearly scored a goal. So it's like they nearly scored a goal, and then you hear this, oh no, like 5 seconds after the shot. Anyway,
shit, press the button. Like,
imagine watching a Bruce Springsteen concert where they removed all of the audio and the crowd, and you just hear him like walking difficultly up stadium seats as they clamp down, and he jumps on. Come on! I'm going to take the mic up high, Phil. It's like, okay, there's no one in here.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway,
how are we doing, Jersey?
Let's just check in. That's like let's get a feel of who on earth I am and who on earth you two are before we now dive into the reason why we're chatting. We've all got James, pardon me, you've got your water. Raavi's got your tea. I've got my massive tea too.
My God. Oh, I was like, that coffee does not look great, but I realized it's not coffee.
Coffee.
It's a coffee-free zone. So the wonderful thing about this is there's no time constraint. It's just for as long as you put up with me and you're happy to just converse. It's not an interview. It's not rigid. Cool. It's relaxed. And I just really wish to learn more about the context and foundation of you as individuals and how this band became a band, because all I know of it, honesty and transparency is key, is the latest single. That's all I know is Sticky.
Oh, really?
That's how I discovered you.
Oh, well, fun fact, that's not our latest single anymore because we put out a single 2 days ago. So there you go.
Yeah.
Conversation prep.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah. So where would you like to start in this, Raavi? How would you like to? I usually like to, the details I'm obsessed with. There's no answer that's too long. I love learning why someone was inspired to become a musician, or, in terms of me, just from a young kid watching my dad running around the house and singing terribly to songs, and then started making demos for radio when I was 11 on his Technics cassette player. And we can dive into that whenever, but it's about you right now. What was your sort of earliest memory of entertainment?
Oh man. I guess God, I'm like really trying to go back right now. I think probably I was definitely inspired like by music, like through my mom, and just like singing with her on our car rides and stuff. Like she would just like pick me up from school, and like she's from Texas. She's like an old country gal. So a lot of my like earliest music obsessions were like country western music. So I think I got like really into it just like from her, and we would sing together. And I've always been in like choirs in school and stuff like that. Yeah, and I like went to an arts camp from age 7 to 15, and then I worked there. So I would spend like 5 weeks out of every year just like practicing performing basically, and like each year I would like add something new to the roster, and eventually like that's like where I started learning how to play guitar and like how to play with other musicians and perform. So I think I developed like a love of like songwriting there, and definitely like honed in on like performance skills. Yeah, and then James and I met in a choir. I don't know if you want to speak about how you got into music, but
Yeah, we did meet in the choir path that we both
mm-hmm.
ended up taking. But for me, it was, I mean, I grew up with a British father around the house, so my musical education pretty early on was like Queen, like Thin Lizzy, Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, like
Modest
Black
Mouse,
Sabbath. Well, Modest Mouse. That was the first band that I kind of
Oasis.
got into, that my parents would not. Yeah, Oasis for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Clash. My first ever CDs were Master of Reality by Black Sabbath, and
Yeah.
a Clash like best of CD.
Wow.
And then
Mine was Taylor Swift, self-titled.
There you go, Taylor Swift, self-titled. I think that was pretty present in my car.
Yeah.
As well, but not till a couple years later. It wasn't like until I was like in high school that I got into them. But yeah. And then I started learning piano when I was 5, and in terms of music, it's just kind of been like all I've ever known since then. Like all I ever wanted to do, all I ever like felt like I was good at. You know what I mean? Like it's just been pretty much as far back as I can remember. It's been pretty 100% for me on just
honestly
doing
same.
music.
Yeah, and it's interesting because James and I like have like a few of like the same like fundamental bands like from our childhood. I feel like, which is weird because we didn't know each other. We didn't know each other until we were in high school, but we had just like happened to like grow up like listening to a lot of the same bands, which is like random.
Yeah, Dixie Chicks. That was, I don't know if you knew, that was pretty big for me because my mom.
Dude, I thought you didn't like the Dixie Chicks. I thought that you were like sick. Not into it. Oh my god, dude, I've been bumping the Dixie Chicks this week, like specifically. That's so funny. But like, that's Modest Mouse and Oasis.
For sure, Tegan and Sarah can't leave them out. Sensational stuff.
That's fascinating.
And then sorry.
Do you both have a certain song that you remember your mum or your dad or your parents singing over and over? Because with my dad, it was very much, and I feel like I'm maybe 10 or 14 years-ish older than you both, but ages don't really matter, but I'm picking up that vibe with the Taylor Swift first CD, compared to my dad being like Queen, Sabbath, Zeppelin, right? Pink Floyd. And he would, and ABBA as well. He had a right mix. Even Neil Diamond in terms of Canadian performers, after you bring up Tegan and Sarah, who are wonderful, wonderful people. And for my dad, it was constantly singing either Money, Money, Money of ABBA.
That's great, yeah.
Or it would be
I had some of that.
Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. And it would just, those are the two that, and Beautiful Noise by Neil Diamond. It's a beautiful noise coming off of the tracks. Boom, boom. And so those, when you went through all those music listings of individuals, it's like, oh my gosh, do you have any of those memories that just still sit, that make you smile, going, oh mum, oh dad?
Yeah, well, now that you mentioned Queen, I did have like my godfather, I think, burned me a Queen CD, just like greatest hits, that I did listen to a lot, like in the car. So we were singing a lot of Queen for sure. But I feel like probably like Landslide by Fleetwood Mac is one I like really remember my mom singing a lot. And I've always loved Fleetwood Mac, and even like the Dixie Chicks cover is really fucking good too. So yeah, that's the first that comes to mind for sure.
Yeah, for me, if I consider my mom, then it was definitely I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. And if I consider my dad, well, my dad has been harassing me to harass you to cover Suffragette City by David Bowie since we were like 16.
Oh, true.
I don't know if I ever brought that up, but that's definitely the one.
Like when I had dinner at your house once.
Oh my god, he would.
They were really pushing a David Bowie cover, and I'm kind of like on David Bowie, honestly. Like I like him, but sometimes I don't know. whatever.
It would make no
It's
sense for us to
It doesn't
do
really
it,
make
like,
sense for us.
no matter how much
Yeah.
either of us likes David Bowie.
He had
But
some teenage girls. I'm like, I don't know.
yeesh. Yeah, there's Radio Gaga by Queen was probably like the number one sing along
Yeah.
track for me and my dad watching the Live Aid performance on YouTube. Like,
Nice.
all day.
So then, if you're saying that you've been in a band since you were 16, how far back is Raavi and the Houseplants? When did you decide then? In high school that was, let's do this, let's write music together?
Well, actually, we were in a different band together in high school, just like with some other friends that we met through the choir and through other places. We all like lived in different towns around like the greater Boston suburb area. So we would like drive like 40 minutes to like get to each other and stuff and play our songs back then. But I think a little later that band kind of like dismantled and you know, I was still just like sending James, because I'd already gotten into the habit. I was like, hey, I wrote this thing, send it to James. It's very validating, right? And just like to see what he thinks. And he's like, yo, if we ever, like, I could write bass parts to this, like, and it just like happened that we had some friends who were like trying to book some shows. And so I think it was probably like our senior year of high school, and we were like 17, 18. So that was 2016, 2017 was when we started doing like what would become this project specifically.
Yeah. Accurate.
And I'm just getting recomfy here, switching legs. So when you started out as just the two of you, or then you turned to those other bands? No, right. So just the two of you.
Yeah.
And you've
that was our first show.
Right. So where do you, because again, coming from an angle of knowing very little to absolutely almost nothing about you both, where do you see this band in this moment? And maybe I'm more intrigued to see where you see it in this moment, then we'll trace back a little bit maybe.
Okay. What do you mean by where we see it in this moment?
Well, if you think back to your several years of making music together, how does this feel to you? Does it still engage the same fun, the same connection? Does it feel that certain elements of it are becoming frustrating? You know, the pandemic is interesting as well.
Gotcha.
And, you know, the latest of the latest songs that you've done all, I'm guessing, remotely then. So let's address this moment and let's work back and look at the growth that's come to get to this point, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's honestly a little bit full circle because everybody, when COVID hit, like the rest of our band is not from Boston. Like I pretty much, with the current lineup, I pretty much met each of them at Berkeley, and they at school, and they and now it's me and Raavi are the only two left in Boston. Everybody else is scattered, so it feels kind of like a return to that, like, hey Raavi, what we gonna do?
I know James is like, we're like in the midst of moving James into my house actually, so like it's really gonna be like the two of us once again. So that's like an interesting point.
I'm gonna be Raavi's actual houseplant.
Yeah, we're gonna put him in a pot. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
see,
so that's
great. So you're at Berkeley then? Are you both, or just you, James, or what?
Yeah, I actually graduated back in May. But yeah, that's how I pretty much know everybody from the band. I met the drummer Madden specifically at 5 Week, which was like a summer program that I managed to get into at Berkeley. And then like as soon as I met her and I heard her play, I was like,
scouted her.
She's got to be. Yeah, because that was around the same time that Raavi and I were scheming to, you know, make music together, just with the two of us, you know. And then I met Madden and I was kind of like, oh shit, like that is who it's got to be.
Yeah, then, I like stalked her on Instagram. He showed me and I was like, oh my god, and it was like, she's going to Berkeley, right? Like she's gonna be here next fall, like we can have her in this band.
Well, yeah, she almost was unable to go to Berkeley. I don't know if you remember. She didn't
get enough money at first.
Yeah, she called me crying because they didn't give her enough scholarship. She couldn't afford it. And then she ended up getting a full scholarship through Lollapalooza, which is nuts.
Yeah, so if you don't know anything about this band, you should look up Madden Class Drums on Instagram.
Yeah,
because she is a a serious drummer.
Well,
good
by the
person to
sounds of
follow.
it, yes. By the sounds of it, yes, indeed. I mean, I immediately feel like a wilting flower in admitting that I drum. But so that's fascinating because yeah, I like this way of going back to front.
Mm-hmm.
I have
I know
so many questions now.
Yeah, lay it on us.
Because you describe, because you know, in the odd bio here and there, math rock comes up a lot. And now, as soon as I put two and two together with Berkeley, I'm like, well, yeah, because you can't afford to just be, we're just a band. Like, you got to be skilled. And so, how was that process alone, just to get into those courses, 5-week, 4-year, full degree? How do you even get in? I'm so intrigued by that.
Well, I don't, because I didn't go to Berkeley. I don't go to college at all. But
neither did I ever. Yeah.
So
James, how did you do that?
James, take that one. What you do is you get your best friend, and he goes to Berkeley, and then he meets all these people, and then you make him start a band with you.
Band recruiter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was at Berkeley for 3 years before I was at Berkeley for 3 years before I graduated, and Raavi is still my favorite songwriter that I have ever met. Like, it's, you know, the shit is without compare. But like, for me, I wasn't considering, you know, studying music as like a real thing that I could do, or, you know, it was just always a hobby for me. But I have a friend named Margot, who I grew up with, who they convinced me to, they did 5-week the year before, and they convinced me to apply. They were like, listen, like, there's a bunch of scholarships you could maybe get, and like, because it's like 10 grand to go there, it's nuts. But so
and that's
I was
just
like,
the summer program. Yeah
I was like, screw it. I was in a period of time where my house had been broken into and my Xbox had been stolen, and I started playing music a lot more as a result of that. Because
I did not know that. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, I used to be a big time gamer, and then when that shit got stolen, I was like, fuck, what do I do with my hands all day? You know,
plot twist, it was me.
I'm sure you can tell over Zoom that I'm super ADHD, like to this
me
day.
Too.
Always fidgeting, always doing something. So, you know, I turned to playing music and stuff. And then I was like, you know, screw it. It's like $100 to apply for this. Like, I can do that. And then they ended up giving me a full scholarship to attend 5-week. I found that out actually backstage at the final show that Raavi and I's old band played. The final show that Raavi played with our old band before House Plants. Yeah, so that was like yeah, it was definitely.
I remember not getting it at the time. Like I remember you telling me, and I was like, "What do you mean?" I didn't really get what you were talking about. I was like, "What do you mean you got a scholarship to Berkeley?"
Yeah,
and I was like, "You're not going to college."
Yeah, and then time. Yeah, right. And then like time passes and stuff, and well, that was like the summer before my senior year, and that kind of my mind did a 180. I was there. I met so many like people, like I was super inspired. I was like, wait, like I can actually do this, you know. I don't have to write myself off as like a hobbyist. You know, like it gave me kind of like getting that scholarship and being able to go to that program, like, is what gave me the confidence to do music for sure. So it all goes back to Margot Silva, who I'm still in touch with, who I actually we're working on a couple tracks together as well. Cool.
So hold up, James. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but you didn't play instruments before the Xbox was stolen? Or you'd had a foundation and you were like, I'm just going to dive into like fully immersive multiple hours a day now instead of Halo. What do you mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I practiced a couple times a week. You know, I learned my Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, I was just like.
So you did your little bit, and then you did what you had to in high school of the classes, but the main focus outside of that. Okay, just to check, because that just seemed nuts, to be frank with you. Like, oh, I've just suddenly decided, but very much believable at the same time. Not to take that away from me, but like. It just goes to show that when you channel energy in a certain way, and then you as an individual decide what Berkeley, a scholarship, means to you, you know, for Raavi and I, we don't know what that means, and we respect it.
I get it though, because it's like his superhero tragic backstory.
Yeah,
like, instead of seeing his parents get murdered in a back alley, his Xbox got stolen, and that's what turned him into a super bassist.
Yeah, and
All I
Batman
would've
would be
been
a
doing
very,
is-
very
yeah.
different tale if young Brucey lost his Xbox 360. You know?
He would have been
No,
a
I mean,
bassist.
Think about it. I would have been playing Xbox in my dorm at UMass Amherst, probably studying
Yeah,
some random
dead
bullshit
ass.
that I didn't want to do in
Dead
the first
ass.
place.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of, gave me because then it was just like hours on end every day. I would just like go home, I'd plug my thing and I would just play. I would like stop doing my homework and stuff. Like my grades tanked. My parents were worried about my like mental well-being and stuff, but it ended up being super worth it. Berkeley gave me, when it came time to actually like make a decision on where to go to school, Berkeley gave me more scholarship than any other school that I got into, and I applied to about 19 or 20 different colleges.
Right.
Some for their like jazz programs, and some for just, I don't know, I was just like, what am I going to study? I don't know, freaking biology or something. Like I literally just had no idea.
You weren't honing in on it. Sorry,
Sorry.
Raavi, yes.
I was just going to say, to kind of go back to your question about Berkeley, I feel like me being like a non-Berkeley student hanging out with mostly Berkeley students in a way also kind of inspired me to take the craft more seriously, because like suddenly I was like hanging out not just like with my high school friends who happened to like also play instruments, like I was hanging out with people who were like gonna make this their careers. So like I definitely like honed in on my own craft and like really started focusing on like developing my own playing style with guitar, because like I knew I was never going to be a shredder. Like I know I just don't have like those like foundations most like guitar players or really most musicians have, because I am mainly self-taught. So like I really like focused on just like doing what I knew I could do well and like making that like my thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely it does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to send you another Zoom link, because
yeah,
Zoom
I was gonna say.
have you got the countdown too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're cracking down on this, understandably, when there's so many hundreds of thousands of us all having, in their eyes, pointless conversations. No, that's great. Let's not forget that bit, because that was very well said. And whenever I take pauses, it's because my brain is moving at 3,000 miles an hour, and I've got like 28 things I want to ask. So I need to hone in on it. But let me quickly,
Yeah, totally. Me too.
let me stop it now and email you another link as quickly as possible.
Good.
I will have another 20 minutes or so before I've got to go and pretend to exercise. But anyway, I don't want to waste time now.
Okay, we'll see you in a sec.
Do not forget where you were sat, and I'll be right back.
I will not move. Yeah.
Thank you both.
Oh, I just moved my phone. Hold up. There we go.
Thanks. Be right back.
All right, peace.
Hello.
Hello.
Perfect.
Very nice. In and out, or out and in.
Yeah. Actually, that was quite seamless for me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a wonderful answer, because it's a case of life is lived experience, and when you're in a certain community, you can't help but be engaged and influenced. And in this way, in a really powerful and intriguing way. How would you then, Raavi, when you look back at your evolution as a musician then, and how would you compare yourself to, other than the great answer you just gave, and maybe it is the same thing and we don't need to expand any further, but how would you compare yourself to before that realization, and then how you've moved on forward since?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to, I think like the way that I like write music, like I hardly ever play guitar if I'm not like writing a song or practicing a song. I'm like already writing, if that makes sense. So like I never learned like covers and shit. Like I know James will bang through like 50 albums a day. He's like, I just learned this whole thing. And I'm like, that's so cool that you can do that. Like I just don't have the patience or like the time or the interest really to do that. So I think that this kind of like shifted me into focusing on that more. So like I really just like have to like put all of my energy into actually just like writing and coming up with something that isn't boring for myself to play. And that's just like how I write songs. Like I'll like give up on a song if it's boring me, if what I'm playing is boring me. So
I'm always interested about the conversation when it comes to covers. I mean, The bands that I've been in the past, I've always been the one member that's like, I'm just not doing it. I don't want to do it. I would rather that look, and I get it. There's no right or wrong answer to anything ever. We're all unique individuals, and we will decide, and therefore in our own band we'll decide. But for me, and sometimes I have a very loud voice, I'm like, no, because we're in the case of the band I was in last, for example, we're so green, we're so new. How about we try and write a My Hero? Or write a Stairway to Heaven? Why have we got to have that be the one thing? Or Are You Mine by Arctic Monkeys? Or Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor? Or Last Night by the Strokes? Why has it got to be that people then suddenly turn around and go, "Oh shit, this band's tight," when it's not even it's not even our band's music?
But I don't think that's what the purpose of covers serve typically. Like, it's just like, oh, this is familiar, that's fun. Like, it's like, if unless you're doing a full ass cover set, and that's a whole other thing. But if you're just playing a set, and all of a sudden you play fucking Toxic by Britney Spears, like in the middle of a set, like that wasn't expected, and like that's super fun because people who, if they don't know your music, they might like know that song, and like I get the purpose that they serve. I just feel like I have a lot of trouble like learning them, and to the point that it will do them justice. And that's something I should honestly work on, because I am a better like player and writer when I do force myself to like learn other songs. I just get so bored doing it, so it's really like a personal problem for me.
Well, I mean, again, there's no right or wrong to anything. That's the second point. The second point I was going to get into, which is if you then take away the necessity of necessarily needing to be noticed in a live situation, I don't know. I love a cover that. I'm not saying I don't like covers. Yeah. I'm saying I don't like performing in bands that do them.
It's totally fair, yeah. But I'm kind of the same. So
I prefer when a band completely reinvents it, takes the inspiration of, and goes, well, let me show you this, and it's whatever that might be. I mean, I'm speaking to hundreds of thousands of millions of songs that have been made over time, and we haven't even looked through TikTok today. So I don't want to spend too much time on the cover thing. I think we're covering bases, and I'm just getting all amped up in my own mind about, you know, I like them, but I wish more bands would say sometimes, do you know what, it is so early on, can we just write, can we just figure out our writing first?
That's totally fair. And also, I have a pet peeve where people cover songs, and if they're making it their own, but the only thing they change is that they're just slowing it down, like it's a soft rock version of whatever the song is, it just puts me to sleep. Like, I think that's so lame.
Tony.
Oh, there's my mom.
Tony.
When I was spitting, I love this. The last 2 or 3 interviews have had a parental visit. She
doesn't even notice. Hey, bye, Mom.
That's all right.
No,
I mean, but it's brought about some great flipping conversations, because when I was speaking with Jordan and Brian of, as I mentioned earlier in the chat, Jane in the Jungle out of Arizona, Mrs. White, Jordan's mum, she was walking around the house, and Jordan had prefaced, what's the word? Prefaced? She'd said that her mum might be in the shot, and I said, well, if she is, bring her in. And then I got to fact check everything that the band had told me, and she was a real delight. She was fantastic. Fun. Could have done a whole 3-hour show just on that, just running through everything and checking. But cognizant of the fact that we have another 15 or so minutes left, and to really focus on you. I mean, firstly, just thanks so much for the conversation. It's great to meet you both, and it's
likewise
sweet to pick your brains.
It's been a great one. Yeah, it's felt a lot more genuine than many interviews that we do.
Totally.
Oh, that's
feels
very
like a podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a conversation with. I mean, I guess you still don't really know much about me at all, which is very kind of you to trust the process here, which is that I've been in broadcasting commercially for 10 years here on Vancouver Island at a modern rock station. I chose to leave that coming up 9 months ago, because I felt that I had learned and grown an awful lot from those that I had been in and around in the industry. And I am no messiah of radio, but I felt there were a lot of grey areas that I didn't like being attached to. And I also feel that artists aren't really elevated in the way that they should be. And you look through the pandemic, and some bands have been asked, you know, when can you send in a song for our live stream, and when can you do this and that? And it's all about serving the bigger corp. It's not about serving the smaller artist. And so with What Was That, anyone that subscribes to the station, everything is split 50-50 between myself, running costs, and then the What Was That Foundation. And it's basically going about trying to, in a non-posturing way, build a community of musicologists who are passionate about elevating artists to the extent where what I'll share with you is one of our listeners has made a list of over 400 unique songs that he's working through and buying for at least $2 on Bandcamp every paycheck.
That's lovely.
Oh wow.
In the 4.5 months that the station's been going, I've earned $8,000, and so we've just turned around as a subscriber community last week and decided where will 4,000 go? Well, 4,000 split. 1,000 will go to the First Nations Art Council of Canada to help get instruments and music programs into the First Nations community. 1,000 will go back into the community itself. Some of our community members are listening from a tent on Salt Spring Island or a shed whilst they have no shelter due to the pandemic. We've put money into the pockets of that wonderful person to help them put down on their first mobile home. Another community member who desperately needs counselling. Mental health is huge, is massive. We're paying for their counselling sessions for the next 3 months. So it's about just trying to build a community that isn't walking around saying we're better than or we're this or that. It's just trying to affect change in 5-10 years where I can turn and say, look, this license fee for an online radio station of $150 a year isn't enough. Only taking 3% of my earnings when I earn $3,000 a month isn't enough. And so I can't affect change after my 15 years in commercial or college radio or whatever if I haven't got for me something palpable and physical to showcase and say, look, but, I've tried not to run too much when I've been walking the last few months because I know what I can build this into. And to answer your point of being very generous about the feel of this conversation is just that. It's a conversation. I can't expect to get anything from you if I don't meet you halfway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the same time, I'm trying to, as a musicologist myself, learn about the attitude of the soul and creator behind songs that get me intrigued to reach out. Like you're one that I still only know. Right. And due to doing all these other bits and bobs and running everything myself and throwing myself into the deep end and learning what I felt I was being held back on, that's why my lack of due diligence meant that I didn't see the song that came out on Friday. But I'm okay with that because what have you got to lie? Now I'm excited to go and check it out when I'm driving to the gym in 10 minutes.
It's still there. Yeah.
And it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
That's got to be so much more fulfilling than
absolutely.
working for somebody else's radio station is like actively knowing where all the knowing the impact that you're making just through like music and the love of
it's mutual aid.
It's just for the sake of my sanity. At the same time it's been a massive mental challenge. I'm having the odd breakdown multiple times a week being like, am I working hard enough? Is this going well? But that's just when I'm tired because I have been working too much. And then when you're in the depths of your own tiredness, you get caught in the sludge. So no, I mean, but anyway, look, that's a little bit about me because you've been so gracious in sharing an hour worth of yourselves.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
with Sticky, I'm really intrigued by, there's so much intricacy in what you do, but at the same time, let's dive into how you put together Sticky and the new single to galvanize my excitement further for checking it out after our chat. How did you put these together? And what fascinates me from what I've learned from just Sticky, I didn't research anything else because I love having this conversation instead of feeling like you've only got 10 minutes for 3 questions and don't talk about this or that. I love that there's intricate parts of every step of the way, whether it's a guitar, a bass, a vocal, whatever. But you've also got a very interesting way of then having that one part that just goes over all of it. So there's integral parts with guitar work, but then that one chord that's coming back and over, and it's just filling that gap. And it almost feels like you're trying to hide, yet you then publicly say in bios that there's a math rock, that there's a particular nature, that there's a very pointed way to creating. So that's a hell of a lot of words. I'll shut up and over to you. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, there's like a lot of different questions in there
welcome to my mind.
To get to. Yeah. Well, I guess for your most recent part of that question though, I think probably what you're referring to, if whatever it is that's like in the background that is like consistently being played through the song, it's probably what I'm playing, I would assume, is what you're referring to. Yeah, yeah. I think it's probably because like I give a band a song that's like already written, and like I said, I'm always just trying to impress myself with my guitar parts. So like, now we have 3 guitarists, and a bassist and a drummer. So everyone's just like trying to like write parts around that complement what I'm doing and complement my vocals and stuff like that. So there's definitely like a lot. Sticky is very unique in that there's like a lot of like subtle things that like I'm doing. Like I'm playing like I play like 3 or 4 different variations of the same guitar riff throughout the entire song, and like each time it like gets harder for me to play personally. Oh, my puppy just walked by. So that's probably what's going on there. But also Sticky's interesting because it is like it's kind of an outlier with our songs the way it was written, because we started arranging it like before quarantine hit, and then the rest of it had to be arranged like during the recording process. So Justin, who is another one of our guitarists who produces some of our music, and he like helped engineer the record that we put out. He produced the 2 singles, Sticky, and the one that came out a few days ago, which is called Major Tool, by the way. So he had to like basically turn like the skeleton of Sticky into an actual like full track, and he had to make it make sense for us in the recording stage.
Yeah, and it was his first time like actually contributing a new guitar part to a new song as like a guitarist of the band. So that was really great to hear as well. He killed that shit. And yeah, so that was bizarre because that song was kind of a product of well, the way we've always kind of done it is we get the voice memo from Raavi of like she's playing and she's singing, and then we show up and we work it, and we're kind of from the arranging side of things, like the rest of us are all trying to extract a piece of what's already there and amplify it with our own instruments. We're not really into like redoing too much or touching what because once Robbie's part is going to be like like 90% finalized once that voice memo hits. So it's been about us like taking what's already there and kind of trying to like put a spin on it rather than changing it, trying to just like expand upon that. So Sticky was cool because instead of us doing that in a room together for like 2 hours a week, we had the song just in all of our computers individually, and we had time to just sit and play it. Like I took about 115 takes of that song.
Wow, that's crazy.
For the bass part. Like it was cool. It was just ways to endlessly experiment and build up each other in a really compartmentalized way.
But we never want to do it again.
Yeah, no, right. It sucked. It was crazy.
Like we're happy with the product, but it's like almost not worth it. Like just going through that process again, especially for Justin, it really stressed him out because he was like, fuck, I have to actually like, finish this song. But I will say James is also I feel like a very unique bass player in that he writes not as much like super rhythmic parts for the most part, but your parts are often almost feel like a fourth guitar, like that's really low.
Yeah,
like
no, I agree with that.
You play very melodically, you know, and I think that elevates like the quote unquote math rock aesthetic that we have been playing around with.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny because just that revelation of like the bass being a melody that came from my like. I'm sure you remember, like I had a super heavy Motown phase at the end of high school, and that's what that came from. Is less of like the math rock. Like I never learned the shit Joseph learned, like intervals and periphery. And well, I learned a little periphery, but it was mostly like my my main like holy shit moment was hearing like Stevie Wonder's first record, or hearing the Jackson 5, like listening to these bands that I all knew like one song of each, maybe like whatever made it on the radio, like sitting down and listening to the albums front to back.
Cool. But at the same time, like you're really good at just like locking in with Madden. So I don't mean to say like you're still playing a rhythm instrument, but like I don't know, you do it both very well, and I think it definitely like contributes to our sound a ton. But I will say, so with the newer single that we put out, it's like we did record it in the same way, like all remotely, but that song we had been performing it since the summer of 2019. So like we already had it like locked down. It was already arranged, right? Yeah. So it was like it took a fraction of the time to both just record it and also mix it and produce it. So
are you saying with Sticky then that you you trusted each other to just send on the file to the next person, or did you stop and review every day? Were you aware that James had done so many takes until just now? How did you?
I did know, but not. I didn't know you did so many takes until we had gotten together in November, right? To
To
meet me
actually
like
play it, yeah.
yeah, to actually play it in person, like because we hadn't seen each other for months. But then I think you mentioned it there when we went. We got like an Airbnb as a band, so we could write some more. But yeah, and honestly, like I've probably did just as many, if not more takes, if you take into account that I like had to redo guitar several times because my part is so hard, and like all the vocal takes I did for that song and all the doubles
Yeah.
and harmonies and shit. Like,
And we did restart
Yeah.
from scratch multiple times too, because Madden kept just
Mhm.
like moving her drums to a different room and buying a new set of
Mhm.
microphones and like
Yeah,
receiving
that was
new
part of it.
cymbals and just
Mhm.
craziness.
Justin would FaceTime Madden and be like, "Okay, where are you placing the mic?" And they would try to like figure out what the best place to, I don't know what the best placement was. I can't really speak on that much.
Yeah, that took
as
6
not a
months.
producer.
Yeah, that took
Yeah.
the whole time.
That
Yeah,
did take a while of it. Yeah, a good amount.
for sure.
Mhm.
And then and the way that I always approach any lyrical experience is that you can share what you want to share, and the context behind this or that, it's down to you.
Mhm.
But you do write, welcome to the emo lounge, and come on in, let's share our hearts and what's going on. So
Mhm.
I'm getting from the bios here that you do write of lived experience, or do you distort and get into more of a storyteller and envision a certain outlet?
I definitely do both. I will say though that the emo lounge thing is kind of a joke, but one time very early on, somebody described our music as emo lounge as a genre.
What?
And, and I always
What, in a
really
student
liked that.
publication or in what?
It was some
Pitchfork need
like
to chill out, man.
it was some like online publication that just like reviewed our first EP, and they called us emo lounge, and I really liked it because before that people would always describe us as jazzy, and that always like made me feel
Jazzy.
very weird. Or they're like, how so like you're a indie jazz band. I was like, well,
I
no,
don't
we're
know about
fucking
that.
not at
Yeah.
all. So it was just like very weird, and they finally like lounge is kind of similar to that, and emo uses a lot of like quote unquote jazz chords, so it felt like a good thing to call us. But yeah, anyway, back to the actual question. I do write from personal experience, but I also don't like confine myself to that. Like I do feel like a storyteller. I like just like writing stories and writing poetry is something I've always just been interested in. Um, and I would like to like I would just be in the back of my class, like in high school and in elementary school, even like my entire academic life, just like writing stories or writing like lyrics and poems and shit to myself. But I do make stuff up a lot, I will admit. Or like I'll like puzzle piece different experiences together just to make a song make sense, just to, like come up with like a narrative for myself. Because I don't want to like confine myself too much to like real things that have actually happened, and I also don't want people to know when I'm writing about them because that makes me very anxious. So I don't know. I pull for like a lot of different things, but there definitely is a lot of like I feel like I have a very specific voice when I write. Both like if you like see me writing to you in my emails and also just interviews and songs and stuff like that. So I try to like keep my voice whether or not I'm telling the truth.
That's the lesson learned from that Taylor Swift CD in the car from half an hour ago, in the
Yeah.
conversation, not the interview.
Mm-hmm.
You can share what you want to share when you want to share it. You're in charge of your own outlet, for goodness sake. And I feel a lot of people feel sometimes that they have to distort or dive into certain situations to fit the system.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I connect to music that I feel through the soul of the creator, whether it's because like I said, it's in every single chat, but because lately there's so many new musicians that I'm meeting that don't know, I don't listen to a song 1 or 2 times. I go through it 30, 40, 50 times. I strip it back layer by layer, single parts, multiple parts, backing vocals, main vocal, whatever it might be. And I try and get into the psyche of that person, because for me, as ridiculous as it might
sick of
sound,
the song in the midst of that?
no,
Like,
no.
no? Cool.
I spent many years playing bands Right?
Or are you talking wait, sorry, are you talking about just listening to music or your
music
own
that
songs?
music that I like. Like, so when I
Got
discovered
you.
you,
Okay.
and my partner was the one that found the song,
Right.
and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I listened over and over and over and over. And then when you reached out on Instagram, I was like, right, okay, let's try and get an organic conversation, right? Instead of trying to go, what I've learned from leaving radio is that, you know, your ego takes a big hit because all of a sudden all the interviews you used to get, they dry up because you're not on that mainstream station anymore. And that's okay. It wasn't okay 6 months ago. And I was like, why don't I get replies anymore to anything? But you live through, life is lived experience. You grow from it. So I've always just chopped things to bits to try and figure out what they are. But what I like now, after all these years of doing that hyper aggressive way, is with these bands like you guys that I didn't know about until a few weeks ago, I can just enjoy getting to know more of who you are, and then maybe save myself going insane, listening 50 times, trying to figure out what clothes James was wearing, if he had a good day, where he might be going tomorrow, how is he going to illegally stream PSG versus Barcelona, you know?
Yeah. Damn.
It's true.
You know, my mind analyzes everything a lot.
Well, I will say that won't work if you're trying to analyze my lyrics, because I really do keep stuff like a little, I don't know, like removed. Like, I don't like things to be super obvious in my lyrics. And because I feel like I want people to, you know, react to the emotional core of the song, but I want them to also be able to like interpret it in their own way and attach their own experiences to it, because I feel like I really do believe of death. I believe in death of the author to the most highest extent, I guess, other than if you're writing about a historical event or like a political event or something like that. Like, I really do think that it is in the eye of the beholder, and that everyone should be able to just interpret it and feel it however they want. Unless they're like interpreting my music as like Nazi propaganda. Definitely don't do that.
Yeah. No, it's not that. I didn't get that tone. Then again, I've only heard one of the songs. How many others are there, you know?
Uh-oh.
No.
Definitely not.
So this is a bummer because I got to get going in a second. But is there anything you feel that I've missed, or anything that you'd like to address or add on?
I don't know. Well, I guess.
Yeah. I now know why. I was looking at our stats earlier, and I was like, "What is this town in Canada that's listened to our song 137 times?" Now I know.
That might be us. Yeah, that might be us.
Do you live in Oak something? What is it? It was like Oakville or something like that.
There's an Oak Bay around the corner, but that's just a suburb of Victoria. But
they do. Random suburbs will show up on Spotify for artists, though. Like the most
interesting.
It's fun. Yeah.
Bizarre places like
Newton Center, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's
really?
That's not even a town. That's just like that's a neighborhood inside Newton. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I track the radio figures, I can see the cities. He's off to check it. I can see the cities that people are in.
No,
but okay, but I can't see what house they're in. That would be creepy.
Oh, well, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, drive over and thank you for listening.
Yeah, well, I guess the only thing else to say is that, you know, we just put a single out a few days ago. We're really happy with how it came out. It's called Major Tool. So, yeah, if you like Sticky, you might also like this track. They're kind of both a little different from the other like bigger releases we've done, like our EP and then our record. And yeah, we're writing a new group of songs soon, so if it'll be EP or an album, we'll see, but we got some stuff cooking. So
those two are definitely like a two-sided coin to me. I feel like
for sure.
And two-sided coin in the sense of you've chosen to go standalone, or would you have considered putting them side by side?
We kind of went back and forth. I think at the end of the day we made the decision to not put it out as a double for, unfortunately, like for algorithmic reasons.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
You know, like, because you do to some extent, you have to play the game, and you just gotta do what the algorithm goddess will favor. So, yeah, because they were done around the same time too. Like, we've been sitting on Major Tool for like 3 or 4 months at this point. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I knew I should have booked this at 2:00, not 3:00. But maybe if you're down with it, we can have another catch up in a few months and reconnect. And
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
We can maybe get some other band members to hop on as well. James luckily just did last minute.
Yeah, I'm off
I always
for work.
forget to
Let's
ask
go.
other members to like hop onto these things.
well, maybe by then I've figured out how to fit more people in my tiny TV as well.
Oh, true. Yeah, I know. Our heads are gonna be like, you're just gonna get our noses.
No, I'll work on it. I'm still learning how, because I keep looking. That's why I'm gonna look so sketchy in this interview. I keep checking this other screen to make sure it's recording, but I've got to figure out a way to do that.
Are you gonna post this somewhere, or just for clarification purposes?
Yeah, I was gonna put it on YouTube if that's all right.
Yeah, that's totally cool.
And I don't edit
Sounds good.
anything. It's just the whole thing.
Cool. Get that great beginning part.
Well, yeah, but
Like 10 minutes
it's figuring each other out, isn't it? It's life, you know. I won't lie. I'll probably watch it back and be like, should I? And the only time that I ever edit anything is just for the artist. I mean, I can also make the link. What is it? Unlisted. You can check it, and if there's any bits in it, you know, that you don't like, that's down to you. I'm not a stickler for this is mine and I own it now. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
The amount of bands I've spoken to, very fortunately from my previous career, where I say, "Oh, Rolling Stone said," they're like, "No, I never fucking said that." So this is your product. This is you. I'm trying to elevate, and you will have a say in whether you enjoy it. So if you look back in 5 years, you go, "Geez, I don't want this on the internet," then we'll remove it.
It's like me every time I open my mouth.
If you need to give me at least 6 weeks to have it online. I mean, but look, if you turn around and say there's certain bits you don't want, or that you don't want it on there at all, it's always about the performer. It's not, look, you're the most important. It's your art that I'm trying to elevate.
Thank you.
It's not about
really
me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's super
Very much
thoughtful.
appreciated. Yeah.
Definitely got to double check if I had talked some shit or not. That's my main problem.
Which
I'm
I
like,
don't
oh
think
god,
you
do I
talk-
want people to know that I was really into Taylor Swift's Untitled album or not?
Let's go.
Well, but come on, everyone's got their own little hidden agenda somewhere. If yours is Taylor Swift, I think there's far worse things.
I'm just teasing myself, but I stand by it. I think I think it's a good one.
You know, I said that I was singing ABBA and Neil Diamond, and you know, I'm a really cool mid-30s dude. You know, I really
like your tattoos. By the way, I've been like peeking them.
Sweet.
They very cool.
They allude to my favorite bands, actually.
Oh, what? That's so sick.
So,
I'm so into tattoos, so give it to me.
This guy is a Queens of Stone Age reference.
Cool. Very cool.
With the lightning bolt through him that goes round to Deftones. There's actually the White Pony and the Self-Entitled in the same jobby. This elongated, stretched dude around the bottom in blue is from the Muse. Is a Muse reference.
Nice.
Madden would love that. Our drummer, she's big Muse.
You just named like
gal.
our drummers, like.
Oh yeah. Well, if you want to get technical, there's no one more technical with an arpeggiator than flipping Matt Bellamy, is there? Oh gosh, it's telling us we're going to run out of time again. Yeah. No, we've got 10 minutes.
Well, yeah. Okay.
This is a reference to this sort of gorilla dude is Mastodon.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I recognize that.
And then the other side, I don't know if you can see the cat. Can you see this cat?
Yeah, kind of. I see the eyes.
That alludes to the Cat Empire from Australia.
Oh, the Cat Empire? No way.
I
haven't heard that band name in so long.
Oh, legendary.
I don't think I know them. Oops.
That's okay
I guess
because
I got someone to check out.
Yeah, go back to the very first album, The Chariot, and just let that they are one hell of a musical collective. And that was one of my bucket list dreams, actually, of getting into broadcasting when I got hired at my old job 11 years ago. I said, if ever this band comes anywhere near town, I would love to chat. I would love to MC. I'd love to do whatever I can do.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got to do all those things, and it was such a delight to meet them.
Yeah, that's so great.
And then the last one is this Foo Fighters Atomic Bomb from Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace.
Oh, nice.
Dude, doesn't your friend have an entire Foo Fighters arm?
Yeah, my like best buddy from high school has the Foo Fighters sleeve of all their album covers.
It's all well done too. It's cool.
Also, yeah, I just want to add that Madden and I actually, I don't know, because if you learn a bit more about Madden, you'll see that she's been touring with some pretty major like 90s alt rock bands, such as Mike Doty from Soul Coughing and the band Wheatus as well. And where Madden made that connection was with me at a Mastodon show in New York. So
oh, no way.
That's kind of fun. Yeah, we saw them when they did that double headliner tour with Primus.
Oh man,
way back in the day.
Did you ever listen to Primus's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack?
Yeah, yep.
Hot damn.
It's
That's a delight. That's a
it's
real
pretty
flipping
fun, yeah.
trip, unsurprisingly. I got
I
the
wish I
Record
was at
Store
that
Day
tour as
special
well,
on that.
they were touring like the children's album that Les wrote, and he was essentially, it was like an amazing like Primus greatest hits set at the front
Holy
and
shit.
at the end, and then the middle part was him just coming back out. He had a cloak on, he had ram horns going, he had an electric upright bass, and he was just reading this
I love
children's
it.
book that he wrote while they were jamming. It was
That's
incredible.
so cool. Jesus, man.
And then obviously Mastodon ripped as well. Big difference between the crowds for the two bands, though. A lot of people left but without seeing Primus.
Now that's interesting. Yeah, and that's oh man. Yeah, we're gonna have to continue this discussion another time. It's gonna take me 20 minutes to get down to
for sure. We don't want to get you going again.
No, well, I could sit and talk. That's why I should have
just
shouldn't have planned anything else.
You got your workout to get to, right?
Yeah, well,
yeah.
It sounds like it's a lot more. I keep looking at myself because I know I'm smiling like, yeah, working out. Yeah, I mean, I just do step up, step down, deep breathe, don't die. That's all I do. Yeah. Was your mum getting ice then, or a massive bowl of cereal? What was that I could hear in the background?
I don't know. I totally missed it. Mom.
Okay, that's all right.
I don't know. I don't want to bother her. I don't want to embarrass her.
No, that's okay. She's probably just trying to have some ice,
a
bowl of ice in
right
peace.
now. I don't know if you see it, but this is my little.
Oh,
hey.
Getting some butt scratchies right now.
Awesome.
I don't know if that's gonna get cut off by the little.
No,
head thing
that made
the
it.
Binders. Yeah.
Maybe it was just the arse of the dog, but
yeah.
everyone.
This is our mascot, Cleo.
Cleo representation.
Fabulous. All right.
Her whole butt is on the couch. All right.
We will definitely continue this another time. I will always be here to support the best I can. What little help it may or may not be, elevate your art.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your time. And I'll link you in the
Likewise.
next few days, the unlisted video, so that you can just scope through at your own leisure. And it will not be listed live until we all decide it's comfortable for everyone involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's good.
I
don't think we talked too much shit, so I think it'll be okay.
I think it's going to be completely fine. And James, honestly, not to be too cheeky, you're going to watch 10, 15 minutes and go, nah, the vibes were great. We're great. I can't be asked to watch the rest.
Vibes are great.
Vibes
are great. Yeah.
That's what I usually do, is like watch the first 15, get through the awkward bits, see if the artist is with me or not, and then skip half an hour. And if they're still looking completely deadpan, I'm like, okay, maybe they don't want this to be anywhere. But,
yeah. Totally. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this.
Yeah. Have a great rest of your night in Boston.
We look forward to doing this again.
Sweet.
Hopefully with some more members.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
see you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
For now, thank you both.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, James. Bye, John.
Bye. All right. That was a conversation with Raavi. Thanks so much for being here and checking out some whatwasthatradio.com. If you want to learn more about the podcast, because there's a conversation with those elongated chats, and then the What Was Short, where we take just a 10-minute nugget of awesome from it, go to whatwasthatradio.com/podcast. And whatever you're doing the rest of your day, and as always, please look after yourself. And I hope there's some fun and smiles involved in the rest of it too, because we've got to cherish that positive. Until next time, thank you. And cheerio.